Now I finally get to introduce you to the hosts of this amazing place, Brian and Jody.
How you doing? Hello.
And, you know, we've just been overwhelmed with positive emotions since we arrived here. Everyone is so nice and welcoming, and Brian and Jody both are so genuine and so kind. And you really feel that they want you to have a good time here. They want you to get better. They're excited if you're trying new fruits, or, you know, excited if you're trying new plants that you never ate before. We went to the waterfall yesterday with Brian and a bunch of guests. We had a great time. You know, you don't feel like you're taxing them with your questions. They're really passionate and honest. And it's something that, you know, from my point of view, having been to a lot of detox resorts, you don't often see that. And I think one of the nice things about Brian and Jody is their own success stories. Just to give you a quick bit of information about them, they come from the U.S. They were both working in Atlanta, you know, pretty much normal life. Brian was a teacher and Jody was working in public health. They came to Costa Rica on their honeymoon, and they loved it. So, and then they decided to think about maybe moving here, and they had a friend. It was all kind of spontaneous and probably happened for all the right reasons that they were told about this particular location.
Yeah.
They came, bought the land 6 years ago, and they've put their heart and soul into it to build this place. Considering how young they are, it's just amazing to see how much they have created in 6 years, and now it's a fully operating detox, healing, raw food retreat center in Costa Rica. So I really give my hat off to both of you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Every place
Appreciate
you
it.
look, you can see that, you know, you guys have been busy for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a labor of love.
You can tell. You can really tell. So I'm really wanting to share with everyone, you know, your own personal stories of healing, because I think that's really what is probably fueling your passion so much and trying to help other people. Who wants to go first?
Ladies first?
Ladies first.
Well, I actually had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which I got when I was a baby. I was not even 2 years old. So I'm 42 now, so I had it for about 35 years.
Wow.
So I'm not quite 42. I still have one more month
That's
left
right.
of being 41.
I was thinking, wait a minute.
Jump ahead quickly.
Don't forget your birthday.
So anyway, yeah, so I went raw about 6 years ago, which is when I was able to clear up the arthritis once and for all. But so a lifetime really, though, 35 years of arthritis, and it was crippling. I mean, my childhood was not really fun at all, and you know, in and out of wheelchairs, and medicine, a lot of medicine, and side effects from medicine, and more medicine. And then also at 16 I developed asthma, and so I had pretty debilitating asthma for about a decade, 15 years.
Wow.
Took a lot of prednisone to control it, used a nebulizer, had like bronchitis every third month or something. I'd had bronchitis. So when I was in Atlanta, well before I met Brian, I really started exploring alternative health modalities. And I did everything but diet. I really did everything. And I just have to put this in there that I did take the silver amalgams out of my mouth. I had 8 of them. And when they came out, when the last one came out, I was asthma free.
Wow.
That's a pretty cool story.
I mean, I was floored because I didn't really expect it to just go away like that, but it did.
Wow.
So that is, I think, really critical to get the silver amalgams out of your mouth.
I agree.
And, you know, I guess with all the alternative things I was trying, I was having some gains, but not really. And when I met Brian, he had already done like a year of raw, and he'll tell you his story, but he definitely started educating me along those lines. And I had to move into it kind of slowly, into raw food, just transitioning my diet. And coming off the medicine was scary for me. And so, I mean, a whole lifetime of, I would have side effects to the medicine, or like a liver malfunction or a kidney malfunction, and they'd pull the medicines, and I would flare, and I'd be this little girl in all this pain. And so I saw that pattern over and over and over and over again. And doctors telling me, you're going to always need medicines and always need me, your doctor. And so it was a big transition for me on an emotional level to give up medicine. It was, the medicine I was on at the time was working great. So, but I knew I was going through some pretty hardcore side effects, like dead bone in my knee. I didn't really want to wait around for the next side effects So it took 5 tries. And the 5th one, though, I was, at this point now, we're married, and I was empowered. You know, I had read all the books, and I kind of had all my ducks in a row. So I was sunbathing and getting exercise and using the rebounder and going to bed early and keeping my stress low, and I was probably about 90% raw food. And when I came off medicine, of course I flared, but I was ready to wait it out, and it took about 4 months before I started to feel better, and 6 months before I definitely felt better. And what's really cool, my whole life the doctors monitor my blood. That's how they know my liver was malfunctioning, or the kidneys, and they know the medicines are controlling the systemic inflammation in the body. So I just continued to do the blood work and follow those lab variables, and they did spike when I stopped the medicine. And at 4 months they started to drop, and at 6 months they were back to normal.
Wow. Wow.
So, and
She's a great
I
story.
haven't continued with the blood work. I was like, okay, adios Western medicine. You're not sticking a needle in me again for a long time.
No more.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing story.
Yeah. So, and it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah. My story is funny. When we speak and we talk, I always say I totally did mine on my own. My illness. I was a big partier and a drinker and you know, I lived my life like most people do. You know, right? Their priorities are you know, go to school, go to college, get a nice job, make lots of money, drive Ferraris. And I tell you what, though, when you lose your health, you beg, borrow, see, everything changes. Now your health becomes your first priority, right? And I could have begged, borrowed, or stole to get it back when it went away. And I was a successful tennis player, an athlete, just living his life like most people do, though, you know. And all of a sudden, I finished my career, and I was about 6 months into being a school teacher, and one morning I woke up and I couldn't move. My muscles were locked up. And of course, that kind of started what I call the rinse and spin cycle of Western medicine. You know, you go to a doctor, they run all these tests, MRIs, CAT scans, and they look at you and they say, well, I don't know what's wrong. And so then you get the wastebasket, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome diagnosis, right? And then so they give you a drug for a symptom. And then that drug has a side effect, so you need another drug. And then you need another drug to that. And then by the time I was finished, I think I was on 40 different kinds of drugs, really.
Wow.
You know, one to make me sleep, one to make me wake up, one for everything. Pain, one for depression. You know, and they all had side effects, so I needed to take pills to combat the side effects. And so it was just going from specialist to specialist to specialist. And finally, I remember finally seeing the last specialist and him telling me, look, this is what you're going to have for the rest of your life. You're just going to have to accept it. And then I remember thinking, you know what? If I have to become a health freak, I'm going to heal it on my own now. I'm going to heal it on my own. I will. And so I started I went to Barnes & Noble, picked up a book on raw foods, and I remember thinking, what the hell is raw food? I don't know. You know, I didn't know it was, you know, I know fruits and vegetables, but I didn't know raw food, the word, you know. I read the first chapter of this book, and it made sense. And I bought myself a Vitamix and a juicer, and those became my 2 best friends, because all my friends were gone, because they thought I was a weirdo. And within that first month, I started feeling a little bit better. But after a year and a half of a really strict detox regime, what we teach here on the farm, it was gone.
Wow.
It was gone. And I became really passionate about this lifestyle, and I wanted to kind of pay it forward. I wanted to tell everybody about it. And at some point, I had gone to a retreat center during my journey, and I remember thinking, if I'm ever well again, I'll do a retreat center in a really beautiful place where it's like the water's pristine and the sun's shining and the air is pure, and it's all amongst an organic farm where we can pick some of your herbs and greens and some fruit.
And where you could keep it affordable.
And where
what you did was not affordable.
Yeah, and where like anyone could go and not have to leverage their life financially to go. And here it is. What, 10 years later, farm of life.
Yeah, it's really a success story. Not only their success stories, but the fact that this place exists now. And I mean, you know, everybody here is so excited to be here, and you really have great guests, you have great volunteers. Everyone's passionate and living this lifestyle, and also open to helping each other, which I think is really an important energy, not to just keep it to yourself. And like Jody just said, one of the biggest ways that you're paying it forward is by making this place affordable. So, you know, you just mentioned a few minutes ago that, you know, people can come here and do a water fast for a month and only pay the cost of the accommodation.
That's it. It's the cost of the night of the room.
Which for 1 month would be about how much?
It's around about $1,500.
So, I mean, compared to other water fasts in other places of the world, that's a nominal fee.
Yes.
And you're also getting support and someone checking on you every day.
Absolutely.
Making sure that everything's okay, helping
Spring
you.
water from the cold pools.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And if you're not fasting the same nightly rate, but it includes that you can use all the fruits and vegetables and make your own food. So people who are here to eat raw foods and use raw foods for healing have to get hands-on. You know, they have to learn how to make a smoothie and how to cut open a mango, and people don't know those things when they first start out.
We teach them how to get
very good
hands-on.
point.
So that way when they leave here, they have a toolbox. So a lot of times people leave retreat centers and then they go back to their lives and they're like, well, how do I do this? How do I?
Yeah.
But here we teach you, you know, this
Or
is
you were doing it yourself.
this is how you can do it back in Canada or France or where is it you're from.
Right.
And we even have, like, before someone's leaving, we have like a sort of an exit talk where we're like, okay, you've learned all this stuff. How are you going to do it back where you live? You know?
Yep.
And so we make sure the person has support.
I think that's so important. And, you know, on top of everything else, you know, we were all excited yesterday that they had a medical doctor from George Washington University.
What a treat.
Fly all the way down to Costa Rica just to visit this place yesterday so that he can recommend it to his patients. I mean, I don't know about you, but I felt really honored.
Same here.
And this isn't even my resort.
Same here.
Honored to be here.
Same here.
Here.
And walking him around and having him be like, how did you guys pull this off? You guys are crazy to do that. You know, how did you do this? He kept saying that all the time. So it was really an honor to have him.
It was great. And I think it just shows you that, you know, if there's a Western medical doctor, I mean, 35 years he did surgeries. And, you know, after 35 years of doing surgeries, he realized, and one of the first things he said last night was after all of his years of experience, he realized that the most important element in healing is food. And, you know, that
Pretty
just
cool,
gave
right?
me chills when he said that. And I thought, thank God, you know, they're starting to wake up in the Western medical world.
Absolutely.
And, you know, for him to take the time to fly all the way down here to see what you're doing, for him to be able to recommend patients, it just shows that this works.
Absolutely.
This is not just some new age, airy-fairy stuff.
Nope.
You put the right foods in the body, the right water, you give it sunshine, you calm down the mind, start getting all that monkey madness out of the mind,
Got it.
start putting positive thoughts and loving emotions in the heart, you're going to get better. It's really that easy.
Yep.
So I just think it's great what you're doing. I would love to see you guys get bigger and bigger. Who knows? You know, I know you want to keep it small. You want to keep it manageable.
Yep.
And after 6 years of building this place, it probably seems overwhelming just to build another 2 bungalows, which I know you're thinking about doing.
Right. Bring it a little bit bigger. Maybe that's about it. Yeah.
I would love to see it grow and grow and grow because, you know, you've got a great thing going here. And I'm just so honored that I was able to come and visit you. It's made my whole trip to Costa Rica worthwhile.
All right.
So, as I said in the other videos, this is my #1 detox recommendation for Costa Rica, without a doubt.
Woohoo! All right.
So, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Jennifer,
thanks
for coming.
Taking the time to talk to my fans and followers and everyone.
Yes, we'll see you later.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.